Morning students, welcome to your computer class. I'm Sunny. So students, today we will move further with our discussion, and before that let's do a quick recap of what we have learned in our last class. So in our last class we learned about crop tool. So cropping means separating or differentiating between the part of an image which you want from the unwanted part of the image. Move tool is used to drag the selected part of an image to a new location. So we learned about copying image, how we copy image. There were two methods. We learned about copying selection on the same image and copying a selection to another image. Then we learned about transforming objects. In transforming objects, we learned about skewing, scaling, perspective, flip vertical, rotate, flip horizontal, and distort. So all these things we learned about. So in today's class, the first thing we are going to learn about is the drawing tool. Now, what is a drawing tool? So students, Adobe Photoshop gives us some sample of different shapes which are available. For example, a rectangle, rounded rectangle, ellipse, polygon, line, custom shape, etc. So all these shapes are there which we can use it in Adobe Photoshop. These are called as the drawing tools. So this is very similar to the one which we have done it in Flash. However, the way we use it is little different in both these tools. So first thing we are going to talk about is the shape tools. Now students, some in Photoshop, there is an option in which you can select some tools. So like for example, if you want to draw a rectangle or a rounded rectangle or polygonal or straight line, then there are certain steps we need to follow, and these are: first we have to select the shape tool from the tools panel. From there you can select the tool which you want. If you want rectangle, just click on the rectangle tool, rounded, check mark on rectangle, ellipse, polygonal, and line, and if you want you can select any one of them and draw the shape which you prefer. So after selecting it, you just have to drag the mouse to draw whichever shape you want. Now next comes is the custom shape tool. Now in custom shape tool, as the name suggests, there are variety of preset shapes. You can see so many shapes which I have put in the photo, like you have an email, you have the no parking logo, you have kind of a bulb, you have the arrow mark. So all this, music, scissor, anything. So this is just a small sample I have shown you here, but any other thing which you want to use it, you can use this preset option to insert that particular thing into your picture. Now what are the steps for it? So the first thing is we are going to select the custom shape tool from the tools panel, and then select the shape whichever you want and from the options bar, and then you just click and drag the mouse. The particular selected custom shape will be drawn on the work area. Next comes is the painting tools. Now Adobe Photoshop gives us various painting tools option. Now there are close to 6 painting tools. One is the brush tool, pencil tool, color replacement tool, history brush tool, paint bucket tool, and gradient tool. Now what are these tools and how they are used? We are going to watch a video where I'm going to show you how these things are used. So here's the tool for the brush tool. So we are going to go ahead and watch the video.
We will talk about the basic functions of the brush tool in Photoshop CC. And we will also talk about brush options to manage behavior of the brush in different ways. Now go and grab the brush tool from the toolbar. And the first menu in the option bar is Brush Preset Picker. Here we can change the brush tip, and this menu shows different types of icons, which are actually different types of brushes available. Now click on this small wheel icon. Here you will get a list of the different groups of preset brushes. These brushes are inbuilt with Photoshop. If you want to add any brush preset, just click on it. I choose Square Brushes. Then it will ask you to append brushes or replace them. Append means it will add them to the existing list of brushes, And if you click OK, then it will replace all brushes together. Now, if you have a set of brushes that you downloaded from the internet, to add those brushes, you need to go to the end and choose Load Brushes. Let's talk about editing the brush. I'm choosing a soft edge brush here, and you can see right above it size and hardness. You can set the size of your brush, and hardness determines the hardness and softness of your brush edge. If I keep hardness to 0, then the brush will paint with very soft edges. And if I set hardness to 100, then it will paint with very hard and sharp edges. And the brush is going to paint whatever the color you have set as your foreground color. Right now it's black, but if I choose red, then it will paint with red. Now, one more thing is, we can also apply blend modes to brushes. If I choose overlay mode and paint with the same red color, then it will blend with the background image. I can also play with its opacity. If I want to paint with the same color with some transparency, then I need to drag down the opacity. And the flow determines how much area the pixels flow to when clicking the brush. If I want to resize my brush, then this is the shortcut to do it. Just press left bracket and right bracket to size up and down. These are some very basic features of the brush tool, but to become more creative, we need to go ahead one more step by adding behaviors of the brush. For that, I need to go and click on this icon up in the Options menu next to the Brush Preset Picker. It will open up the Brush Options panel, and we can also open it from the Window menu and select Brush to open the same panel. In this panel, at the top of the list of options, in Brush Tip Shape, we have the same options as we have seen before in the Brush Preset Picker, such as size, angle, roundness, hardness, and spacing. Check on these items below. If I want to change shape dynamics, then just click on that, and you will get its options to modify brush behaviors, such as size.
So students, you just saw the different features of the brush. We saw the different opacity mode and how the hard and soft flow of brushes were there. So these are the basic features of the brush tool. So we'll go back as we moved a bit further. This seems to be some problem. So here we go. So students, we were talking about the color picker tool. Now what does the color picker tool does? What it sets the foreground and the background color of any image. So when you see the box on your right hand side, you can see it's completely gray. So if I set both the foreground and the background color, then this box will have two colors, where the upper box will show the background color and the lower box will show the foreground color. So these are the two different things. Now the default foreground color by default is black, and the default foreground color is the background color is white. The foreground color generally is used for painting and filling shapes, whereas the background color is used to fill the erased areas of an image. So wherever you use the eraser, you can see the background color showing up when the initial color is removed. What are the steps and how to use that? It's very simple. You just have to click on the upper box of the lower level of the color picker tool. Then the color picker dialog box will appear. You can select the color whichever you want. You can drag the white triangles along with the slider. You can see the small triangle. It's not meant on the neck, just next to the color. You can see a big vertical bar. It has got two triangles in it. You can click on the color slider, or you can click on the color field and click on the OK button to do that. So this is how you use the color picker tool. and brush tool we have just watched. Next we are going to talk about is the color replacement tool. Now what does color replacement tool does? It replaces the color of an image with the color of foreground. So how does it make a difference? Now what we can do is we can specify various settings to control the behavior of color replacement color panel. Now next, there are two options here in which we can do the settings of color replacement tool. One is the tolerance and second is the limit. Now tolerance determines how closely the color will match with the other colors mentioned in that same image. So, and the limits will affect how the adjacent pixel which has the sample color should be replaced, or the color of the non-adjacent area should be replaced. Which area of color should be replaced is decided in the limits. You can see how this is how in the picture how the color replacement tool looks like. Next come is the gradient color. Now the gradient color consists of two or more colors blending together. So there are four options we have in gradient color. One is the linear, second is the radial, third is the angle, reflected or diamond. You can see in the sample, students, radial is something which is round in shape, linear is in line, angle, you can see there are different angles mentioned there, reflected kind of a reflection, and diamond, the color which shows up in the diamond shape. So different colors if you want to apply in an image, then you can do that by using the gradient tool. How to use it? First we have to select the area in which we wish to apply the gradient fill. Second, we select the gradient tool. We click on the gradient sample box in the option bar. The gradient editor dialog box appear. You can see the one available here is the gradient editor dialog box, and you can preset the gradient fill, new gradient fill in the gradient editor dialog box, and just click on OK. So whatever selection you make, the same selection can be seen there. Now you can select an appropriate gradient type in the option bar also, and you can place the mouse pointer in the selected area where you want to apply these changes, and that's how the gradient color gets applied. So students, this brings us to the end of the class. Our homework is number 3, differentiate between the following: color replacement and gradient tool. This is the only one left, rest all we have completed. And number E, answer the following. There are two questions we will be doing, which is question number 3 and question number 4. So students, this brings us to the end of the class. Just in case if you have any doubts or any questions, feel free to reach me through the comment section. So till then, stay home and stay healthy.